My hands tremble as I clutch the prototype, the one I poured my soul into. "You're out, Mom." Oliver's voice echoes in my head, cold as the glass walls of the Bloom AI office. Serena's smile, sharp, calculated, cuts deeper than any knife. My own son, my own blood, siding with her to erase me. How did it come to this? Was it all a lie from the start? I stayed silent, not because I was weak, but because I was watching. Welcome to the Betrayal Revenge Channel, where stories come alive through voices you've never heard told this way before. Stay with us because every truth deserves its moment. It all began 3 months ago on a humid Austin afternoon I'll never forget. The air in the Bloom AI conference room feels wrong, heavy with the faint hum of the air conditioner and the sharp tang of fresh paint. I'm sitting at the polished oak table, my fingers tracing the edge of a notepad I haven't touched in hours. Across from me is Oliver, my son, his tie loosened, his jaw tight. Next to him, Serena, his fiancée, sits with her hands folded, her crimson nails glinting under the fluorescent lights. Her smile is polite, but it doesn't reach her eyes. Something's off. I can't name it yet, but my gut twists, whispering warnings I don't want to hear. "Mom," Oliver says, his voice clipped, professional, like he's addressing a stranger. "We need to talk about your role here." My heart stumbles. Mom. He hasn't called me that in the office in years, not since we started Bloom AI together. I built this company with him. Sleepless nights, endless prototypes, my hands soldering circuits while he pitched to investors. I was the one who designed Biotemp AI, the medical device that put us on the map, and now he's looking at me like I'm disposable. I force a smile, my lips dry. "What's this about, Oliver?" My voice is steady, but inside I'm scrambling. Is this about the new funding round? A restructuring? My mind races through possibilities, each one more unsettling than the last. Serena leans forward, her perfume, a cloying mix of jasmine and ambition, wafting toward me. "Martha," she says, her tone smooth, practiced. "You've been incredible, truly, but the board has made a decision." She pauses, her eyes locking onto mine, and I feel a chill crawl up my spine. "As of tomorrow, you're no longer needed at Bloom AI. It's time for you to rest." Rest. The word lands like a slap. I blink, my vision blurring for a split second. The room feels smaller, the walls closing in. I look at Oliver, waiting for him to correct her, to laugh it off, to say this is some kind of mistake, but he doesn't. His gaze drops to the table, his fingers fidgeting with a pen. My son, the boy I raised, the man I trusted, is letting this happen. "Oliver," I say, my voice barely above a whisper, "is this true?" He hesitates, then nods, still not meeting my eyes. "We need to professionalize, Mom. The investors, they want a certain image. Serena's right, it's time." Time. Time for what? To erase me? To wipe away years of sacrifice, of pouring my heart into this company, into him? I remember the late nights in our old garage, the two of us hunched over circuit boards, laughing through our exhaustion. I remember the day he hugged me after our first investor meeting, whispering, "We did it, Mom." Was that all a lie? Or did I miss the moment when my son became a stranger? Serena's voice cuts through my thoughts. "We're grateful, Martha. Really. But Bloom AI is moving forward and we need fresh perspectives." Her words drip with false warmth, but her eyes are cold, calculating. I see it now, the way she's positioned herself between me and Oliver, like a wedge driven into the heart of our family. I want to scream, to demand answers, to shake Oliver until he remembers who I am, but I don't, not yet. My hands clench under the table, my nails digging into my palms. The pain grounds me, keeps me from unraveling. I force myself to breathe, to observe. Serena's watching me, waiting for a reaction, for weakness. Oliver's still avoiding my gaze, his shoulders hunched. "I see," I say finally, my voice calm, though my chest burns with betrayal. "So that's it? After everything, I'm just out?" "It's not personal," Serena says, her smile tightening. "It's business." Business. The word feels like a blade. This isn't business. This is my life, my legacy, my son. But they've made their choice. And in that moment, something shifts inside me. The shock begins to harden into something else, something sharp, something resolute. I stand, my chair scraping against the floor. The sound echoes in the silent room. I'll clear out my things, I say, my eyes flicking between them. Oliver flinches, but Serena's smile doesn't waver. She thinks she's won. As I turn to leave, my hand brushes the edge of the table, and I catch a glimpse of the prototype sketches pinned to the wall. My sketches, my ideas, my blood and sweat. They think they can take that from me too, but they're wrong. I walk out of the room, my steps steady, my heart pounding. The hallway is quiet, the hum of the office distant. I don't know what comes next, but one thing is clear. I'm not done, not by a long shot. The Bloom AI office feels like a ghost of itself as I walk through it, my footsteps echoing on the polished concrete floor. The air smells faintly of coffee and toner, but it's the silence that presses against me, heavy and suffocating. Just yesterday, this place buzzed with energy, keyboards clacking, voices overlapping, the hum of ambition. Now it's empty, save for the faint glow of a few computer screens left on. My desk, tucked in the corner, looks smaller than I remember, cluttered with prototypes and scribbled notes. My life's work, reduced to a pile of forgotten things. I'm still reeling from the meeting, Oliver's words looping in my head. "We need to professionalize, Mom." Professionalize. As if my years of designing, coding, and dreaming weren't enough. As if I'm some amateur who stumbled into their world by mistake. My chest tightens, a mix of anger and grief threatening to spill over. But I swallow it down, my fingers brushing the edge of a circuit board on my desk. I need to stay focused. I need to understand how it came to this. I sink into my chair, the leather creaking under my weight. The office is dim, lit only by the soft blue glow of the Austin skyline through the floor-to-ceiling windows. I close my eyes, and memories flood in. Serena, when she first came into our lives, all charm and bright ideas. Mama, she'd called me, her laugh warm as she poured coffee during late-night brainstorming sessions. She'd sit cross-legged on the floor, poring over my schematics, asking questions with a curiosity that felt genuine. "You're a genius, Martha," she'd said once, her eyes wide. I'd believed her. I'd trusted her. How did I miss the shift? When did her smiles turn calculated, her questions too pointed? I open my eyes, my gaze falling on a framed photo on my desk. Me and Oliver, grinning at the launch party for Biotemp AI. His arm is around my shoulders, his pride unmistakable. That was 2 years ago. Now, he can't even look at me. I stand, restless, and wander toward the prototype lab. The door swings open with a soft hiss, and the familiar scent of solder and plastic greets me. In the center of the room, on a sterile workbench, sits the Biotemp AI prototype, my creation. I run my fingers along its sleek surface, the cool metal grounding me. Every chip, every line of code, every late night spent troubleshooting. It's all mine. I remember the first time it powered on, the screen flickering to life, Oliver whooping in triumph. "We're gonna change the world, Mom," he'd said. But now they think they can erase me. Serena's voice slithers into my mind. "It's time for you to rest." Rest? As if I'm some fragile relic, a burden they've outgrown. My jaw clenches and I grip the prototype tighter, my knuckles whitening. They think I'm invisible? The thought ignites something deep inside me, a spark of defiance. I'm not invisible. I built this. I am this. I start gathering my things, my movements mechanical. A few notebooks filled with my handwriting, schematics, algorithms, ideas no one else could dream up. A USB drive with my original code. A small toolkit, its worn handles molded to my hands. Each item feels like a piece of myself, a reminder of what I've given. As I pack, I catch my reflection in the lab's glass wall. My hair is streaked with gray, my eyes tired but sharp. I'm 55, not old, not done, not by a long shot. I pause, my hand hovering over the prototype. It's not just a device, it's my legacy, the heart of Bloom AI. They can take my desk, my title, my place at the table, but this is mine. I slip it into my bag, my heart pounding. It's not theft, it's reclamation. As I step back into the main office, the lights flicker on, harsh and clinical. A young intern, someone I don't recognize, pauses in the doorway, startled. "Oh, Martha, I didn't know you were still here," he says, his voice nervous. I nod, forcing a smile, but his presence stings. Even the interns know I'm being pushed out. I walk toward the exit, my bag heavy on my shoulder. The glass doors slide open, and the humid Austin air hits me, thick with the scent of rain-soaked asphalt. I glance back at the office, its sleek logo glowing in the dark. Bloom AI, my dream, my sacrifice. They think they can take it all and leave me with nothing. But they're wrong. The air in my Austin home feels stale, thick with the scent of old coffee and the faint tang of rain seeping through an open window. I sit at my kitchen table, surrounded by chaos, notebooks splayed open, their pages crammed with my handwriting, diagrams, and dates. The prototype of Biotemp AI rests in the center, its sleek surface catching the dim glow of a single lamp. It's past midnight and the house is quiet, save for the occasional creak of the floorboards settling, but inside me, a storm is brewing. I can still hear Serena's voice, smooth and cutting. "It's time for you to rest." And Oliver's silence, louder than any words, my own son, siding with her to cast me aside. The betrayal sits heavy in my chest, a dull ache that won't fade. But as I stare at the notebooks, something shifts. These aren't just papers. They're proof. Proof of my work, my genius, my sacrifice. Every sketch, every algorithm. It's all mine. I flip through the pages, my fingers trembling. There's the first draft of the thermal regulation system dated 3 years ago, my initials scrawled in the corner. Another page, stained with coffee, shows the breakthrough moment when I solved the sensor calibration issue. Each entry is a piece of me, a story of sleepless nights and relentless determination. And then it hits me, sharp and clear, like a crack of thunder. I never signed anything. No contract, no transfer of rights, no legal document handing over my intellectual property to Bloom AI. A bitter laugh escapes my lips, echoing in the quiet kitchen. They thought they could erase me, but they forgot the most important thing. The heart of Bloom AI, the technology that secured their funding, their future, belongs to me. Legally, undeniably, it's mine. Serena's smug smile flashes in my mind and my laughter fades. She thinks she's won, that I'll fade into the background like a good, obedient mother. But she doesn't know me. Not really. I lean back in my chair, the wood creaking under my weight. The rain outside picks up, a steady patter against the windows, and I close my eyes, letting the sound ground me. I think of the early days with Oliver, the two of us in a cramped garage, surrounded by wires and dreams. "We're a team, Mom," he'd said, his eyes bright with possibility. I believed in him, in us. But now I'm alone, and the weight of that truth presses against my ribs. But alone doesn't mean powerless. I open my eyes, my gaze falling on the prototype again. Its curves are familiar, intimate, like an extension of myself. I designed it to save lives, to change the world. And they think they can take that from me? No, not today, not ever. I pull a fresh notebook from the pile and start writing, my pen moving with purpose. I list every patentable element of Biotemp AI, the thermal sensors, the AI-driven diagnostics, the compact power system. Each word feels like a reclamation, a step toward taking back what's mine. My hand cramps, but I don't stop. The spark of defiance that flickered in the office earlier is now a flame, steady and fierce. The rain slows to a drizzle, and the first hints of dawn creep through the window, painting the kitchen in soft grays. I pause, my eyes burning from exhaustion, but my mind is alive, electric. For the first time in days, I feel strong. Not the strength of anger, but something deeper, certainty. I'm not just a mother who's been betrayed. I'm Martha, the woman who built a revolutionary technology from nothing, and no one, not even my own son, can take that away. I stand, stretching my stiff limbs, and walk to the window. The Austin skyline is a faint silhouette against the morning mist. Somewhere out there, Serena is plotting her next move, and Oliver is caught in her web. But I'm not afraid anymore. I have something they don't: proof, power, and a plan. The coffee shop on South Congress smells of roasted beans and rain-damp wood, its walls lined with mismatched art that feels both chaotic and comforting. I sit in a corner booth, my fingers wrapped around a steaming mug, the warmth seeping into my palms. Outside, Austin's afternoon drizzle paints the streets in a glossy sheen, blurring the neon signs. My notebook lies open on the table, its pages filled with the frantic notes I scribbled last night. Every patentable piece of biotemp AI, every proof of my ownership. But certainty is one thing, action is another, and that's why I'm here, waiting for Eric. Eric's been my friend since our college days, back when we were both scrappy dreamers with big ideas. Now he's one of the sharpest patent lawyers in Texas, the kind who can make corporations tremble with a single letter. I haven't seen him in years. Not since Oliver and I poured everything into Bloom AI. But when I called him this morning, his voice was warm, steady, like no time had passed. "Martha, you sound like you're ready to raise hell," he'd said, half laughing. I hope he's right. The bell above the door jingles, and Eric steps in, shaking rain from his umbrella. He's grayer now, his suit crisp, but his smile as boyish as ever. "Martha," he says, sliding into the booth across from me. "You look like you haven't slept in a week." I manage a wry smile, pushing a strand of hair behind my ear. "Try to." My voice is hoarse, raw from the sleepless nights and the weight of betrayal. I slide the notebook toward him. "I need you to look at this. All of it." He raises an eyebrow but doesn't interrupt, flipping through the pages with a lawyer's precision. His fingers pause on a sketch of the thermal sensor array, then move to the dated notes on the AI diagnostics. I watch his face, searching for a reaction, but he's unreadable, his eyes scanning line after line. The clatter of the coffee shop fades, the hiss of the espresso machine, the murmur of nearby conversations. All I hear is my own heartbeat, loud and unsteady. Finally, Eric closes the notebook and leans back, his gaze meeting mine. "Martha," he says, his voice low, deliberate. "You didn't sign anything? No contracts, no IP transfers, nothing?" "Nothing," I confirm, my hands tightening around the mug. I was the mom helping her son build a dream. I didn't think I needed to protect myself from my own family. The words taste bitter, and I swallow hard, pushing down the ache in my chest. Oliver's face flashes in my mind, his averted eyes, his silence as Serena delivered the blow. Eric lets out a low whistle, a slow grin spreading across his face. "About legally, this is gold. Pure, unadulterated gold." He taps the notebook with his finger. "These designs, these notes, they're dated, detailed, and in your handwriting. You're the sole creator, and without a signed transfer, Bloom AI has no claim to your intellectual property. None." Relief floods through me, sharp and dizzying, but it's tempered by caution. "So, what does that mean? Can I stop them from using biotemp AI?" My voice trembles, not from fear, but from the weight of possibility. For the first time, I feel like I have a weapon, something to fight back with. Eric leans forward, his grin fading into something fiercer. "It means you hold the cards, Martha. We can file for patents on every key innovation in here, today if you want. And we can request an emergency injunction to block Bloom AI from manufacturing or pitching anything based on your designs until ownership is settled. They'll be dead in the water without your tech." The words hit me like a jolt. Dead in the water. Part of me wants that, to see Serena's smug smile crumble, to watch Oliver realize what he's lost. But another part, the part that still loves my son, hesitates. Bloom AI is his dream too. Destroying it would mean destroying him. I rub my temples, the weight of the decision pressing against me. I don't want to burn it all down, Eric, not yet. I just want what's mine. He nods, understanding in his eyes. Fair enough. We start with the patents. That gives you leverage without pulling the trigger. And if they push back, we hit them with the injunction. Either way, you're not the one on the ropes anymore. I exhale, the tension in my shoulders easing just a fraction. How long will it take? Provisional patents? A few days to draft and file. Full patents longer, but the provisionals will protect you in the meantime. He pulls out his phone, already typing. I'm looping in my team now. We'll get this moving by tonight. The efficiency of it, the certainty in his voice grounds me. I'm not alone anymore. For the first time since that awful meeting, I feel like I'm standing on solid ground. I take a sip of coffee, the bitterness sharp on my tongue, and let myself imagine the future. Not as the discarded mother, but as Martha, the creator, the one who built something extraordinary. Eric slips his phone back into his pocket and leans in, his voice softer now. You know, I always knew you were brilliant. But this? He gestures to the notebook. This is next level. They underestimated you, Martha. Big mistake. His words spark something inside me, a flicker of pride I haven't felt in too long. I think of Serena, her crimson nails and calculated charm, and Oliver, caught in her orbit. They think they've won, that I'll fade away quietly. But they don't know what I'm capable of. Not yet. As we finish our coffee, the rain outside slows, leaving the window streaked with droplets. Eric promises to send me the first patent drafts by morning, and I thank him, my voice steady for the first time in days. I step out into the damp Austin air, the notebook tucked safely in my bag. I'm not just a mother scorned anymore. I'm the legal owner of Bloom AI's future. The night is heavy with the scent of wet earth as I sit on my porch, the Austin skyline a distant shimmer through the haze. My coffee has gone cold, but I don't care. The weight of Eric's words from earlier today. You hold the cards, Martha. Still lingers, a quiet strength anchoring me. The notebook with my designs sits inside, safely locked away, and the provisional patent applications are already in motion. I should feel powerful, but there's a knot in my stomach, a whisper of doubt. Serena's not the type to back down. And Oliver, will he ever see the truth? The porch light flickers, casting long shadows across the wooden planks. I'm about to head inside when a soft knock at the door stops me cold. It's late, too late for visitors. My pulse quickens and I stand, peering through the peephole. A familiar face, tense and pale, stares back. Lexi, the head of R&D at Bloom AI, the young woman I mentored, who used to shadow me in the lab, soaking up every detail of my work. What is she doing here? I open the door, the hinges creaking softly. Lexi? My voice is cautious, laced with suspicion. It's almost midnight. What's wrong? She steps forward, her hands twisting together, her dark hair damp from the drizzle. Martha, I need to talk to you. It's important. Her voice trembles, and her eyes dart to the street as if she's checking for someone following her. Come in, I say, stepping aside. The air shifts as she enters, carrying the faint scent of her citrus shampoo. I lead her to the living room, where the dim glow of a single lamp bathes the space in soft amber. She sits on the edge of the couch, her posture rigid, her fingers gripping the strap of her bag. I take the chair across from her, my instincts on high alert. Lexi's loyal to Bloom AI, to Oliver. Why is she here, risking everything? Martha, she starts, her voice low, urgent. I heard what happened, the way they pushed you out. It's not right. Her words are laced with anger, but there's something else. Fear, maybe. She leans forward, her eyes locking onto mine. Serena's planning something big. She's trying to steal your work, all of it. My breath catches, a chill crawling up my spine. Steal it? How? My mind races, piecing together the possibilities. The patents aren't filed yet, not fully. Could she know? Could she be one step ahead? Lexi reaches into her bag and pulls out a small USB drive, her hand shaking as she sets it on the coffee table. I recorded it, she says, her voice barely above a whisper. A meeting 2 days ago. Serena and some guy from a shell company. They were talking about transferring the biotemp IP to a new entity, one she controls. They're planning to rewrite the documentation, make it look like you were just a consultant, like your designs were theirs all along. The room feels smaller, the air thinner. I stare at the USB drive, its matte black surface glinting in the lamplight. Proof, Real, tangible proof of Serena's betrayal. My heart pounds, a mix of fury and vindication surging through me. "You recorded this?" I ask, my voice steady despite the storm inside. "Why risk it, Lexi? You could lose everything." She swallows hard, her eyes glistening. "Because I owe you, Martha. You taught me everything, how to think, how to build, how to fight for what's right. When I heard Serena talking about erasing you, I couldn't just stand there." Her voice cracks, and she wipes at her eyes. "I've seen what she's done to Oliver, how she's twisted him. I couldn't let her do it to you, too." Her words hit me like a wave, stirring a warmth I haven't felt in days. I'm not alone. For the first time since that awful meeting, someone's standing with me, not against me. I reach for the USB drive, my fingers brushing its cool surface. "What's on here exactly?" I ask, my tone measured, though my mind is already racing through next steps. "Everything," Lexi says, her voice steadier now. Conversations, emails she thought she deleted, even a draft of the new IP agreement. It's all there. She's moving fast, Martha. She thinks you're out of the picture. A bitter smile tugs at my lips. She thinks I'm out of the picture. Serena's arrogance is her weakness, and now I have the evidence to exploit it. I lean back, the weight of the USB drive in my hand feeling like a lifeline. The room is quiet, save for the soft patter of rain against the windows, and for a moment, I let myself imagine the look on Serena's face when she realizes I'm not gone. Not yet. "Thank you, Lexi," I say, my voice soft but firm. "You didn't have to do this, but you did. I won't forget it." She nods, a small, determined smile breaking through her nerves. "Just be careful, okay? Serena's dangerous. She doesn't lose gracefully." I walk her to the door, the night air cool against my skin as I watch her disappear into the drizzle. Back inside, I plug the USB drive into my laptop, the screen flickering to life. Files load, audio clips, PDFs, screenshots. Each one is a piece of Serena's plan, laid bare. My hands tremble, not with fear, but with purpose. The spark of resistance that ignited last night is now ablaze, and Lexi's evidence is the fuel. I'm not just fighting for my work anymore. I'm fighting for the truth. The Bloom AI office feels like a battlefield as I step through the glass doors, the morning sun glinting off the polished floors. The air is sharp with the scent of fresh coffee and tension, a low hum of activity underscoring the weight of what's about to happen. My bag is heavy with Lexi's USB drive and copies of my patent filings, each document a weapon in this war I didn't choose. My heart pounds, but my steps are steady, deliberate. Today, I'm not the discarded mother. I'm Martha, the creator, and I'm here to take back what's mine. The receptionist, a young man with nervous eyes, barely looks up as I pass. The open plan office buzzes with staff, but their voices fade as I head straight for the conference room. Through the glass walls, I see them. Oliver, slouched in a chair, his tie loose. Serena, poised at the head of the table, her crimson nails tapping rhythmically. She's in her element, commanding, untouchable, or so she thinks. I push the door open, the soft creak slicing through their conversation. Oliver's head snaps up, his eyes widening. "Mom?" His voice is a mix of surprise and guilt, and for a moment I see the boy I raised, not the stranger who betrayed me. Serena's smile tightens, her gaze flicking over me like I'm an inconvenience. "Martha," she says, her tone syrupy but sharp, "this is a private meeting. I'm sure you understand." "I understand perfectly," I say, my voice calm, cutting. I set my bag on the table and pull out the USB drive, holding it up like a grenade. "But we need to talk. Now." Serena's eyes narrow, but she doesn't flinch. "If this is about your departure, we've said all there is to say." Her words are smooth, practiced, but I catch the slight twitch in her jaw. She's not as in control as she wants me to believe. Oliver shifts uncomfortably, his hands fidgeting. "Mom, maybe we can talk later." "No, Oliver," I interrupt, my gaze locking onto his. "We talk now, because I know what Serena's planning." I turn to her, my voice steady but laced with steel. You thought you could rewrite history, didn't you? Pass off my designs as yours, transfer the biotemp IP to some shell company you control? Her smile falters, just for a second, but it's enough. Oliver frowns, glancing between us. What are you talking about? He asks, his voice uncertain. I don't break eye contact with Serena as I slide the USB drive across the table. Proof, I say simply. Recordings, emails, drafts of your fake IP agreements, all of it. My words hang in the air, heavy, undeniable. Serena's composure cracks, her fingers freezing mid-tap. That's absurd, she snaps, recovering quickly. You're grasping at straws, Martha. This is just sour grapes from someone who couldn't keep up. Her voice is sharp, but there's a tremor beneath it, a crack in her armor. I lean forward, my hands braced on the table. Then let's listen, shall we? I nod to Lexi, who's been waiting just outside the door. She steps in, her face pale but resolute, holding her laptop. The room feels smaller, the air thicker, as she connects the USB drive and opens the first audio file. Serena's voice fills the space, crisp and calculating. We rewrite the documentation, make it look like Martha was just a consultant. The IP goes to the new entity by next quarter. The words are damning, each one a nail in her coffin. Oliver's face drains of color, his eyes darting to Serena. What is this? He stammers, his voice barely audible. Serena lunges for the laptop, but Lexi pulls it back, her hands steady. There's more, Lexi says, her voice firm despite the tension. She clicks to an email projected on the conference room screen, a draft agreement transferring Biotemp's IP to a company called Meridian Ventures, signed by Serena. Oliver stares at the screen, his breath shallow. Serena, tell me this isn't real. His voice is raw, pleading, but she doesn't answer. Her silence is louder than any confession. I step closer, my voice low, controlled. You thought I was invisible, Serena. You thought you could erase me and take everything I built. But you forgot one thing. I created Biotemp AI, every chip, every line of code, and I have the patents to prove it. Her eyes blaze, but there's nowhere left to hide. You're bluffing, she hisses, but the words lack conviction. She knows she's cornered. Oliver stands, his chair scraping against the floor. Serena, he says, his voice breaking, is this true? Did you plan this behind my back? His hands are shaking, and for the first time, I see the weight of his betrayal reflected back at him, not just mine, but his own. The room falls silent, the hum of the air conditioner the only sound. Serena's mask is gone, her face a mix of defiance and desperation. I watch her, my heart pounding but my resolve unshaken. This is my moment, the culmination of every sleepless night, every ounce of pain. But as I look at Oliver, his eyes searching mine, a new question gnaws at me. The conference room at Bloom AI is a pressure cooker, the air thick with the scent of polished wood and unspoken accusations. The glass walls seem to pulse with the weight of the moment, reflecting the harsh fluorescent light onto the faces around the table. Oliver stands frozen, his eyes darting between me and Serena, his breath uneven. Serena's composure is shattered, her crimson nails digging into the edge of the table as Lexi's damning recording loops in the background, her own voice betraying her. The IP goes to the new entity by next quarter. My hands are steady, the USB drive and patent filings a shield against her lies. But the victory I expected feels hollow. Oliver's silence cuts deeper than I want to admit. The door swings open with a sharp creak, and every head turns. Diana, the chairman of Meridian Medical, steps in, her presence commanding the room like a storm rolling over the Austin skyline. Her tailored suit is impeccable, her dark hair pulled back, but it's her eyes, sharp, unflinching, that demand attention. She surveys the scene, her gaze lingering on Serena's pale face, then on me, a flicker of recognition passing between us. I've met her once, at a funding pitch, but today she's not here for pleasantries. Am I interrupting? Diana asks, her voice smooth but laced with steel. She doesn't wait for an answer, taking a seat at the head of the table, her briefcase snapping open with a deliberate click. I was told there was a situation regarding Bloom AI's intellectual property. Serena straightens, scrambling to regain control. Diana, this is a misunderstanding, she says, her tone forced, syrupy. Martha's blowing things out of proportion. We're handling it internally. Diana raises an eyebrow, unimpressed. Handling it? From what I've heard, it sounds like a crisis. She turns to me, her expression unreadable. Martha, I believe you have something to say. My heart pounds, but I meet her gaze, my voice steady. I created Biotemp AI, every design, every algorithm. Serena tried to steal it, to transfer the IP to a shell company she controls. I have proof. I gesture to Lexi, who slides the laptop toward Diana, the screen still displaying Serena's incriminating email. Diana scans the document, her lips pressing into a thin line. The room is silent, save for the faint hum of the projector. Oliver sinks back into his chair, his face ashen, his hands clenched. I want to reach for him, to shake him out of his daze, but this isn't the time. Not yet. After a long moment, Diana leans back, her eyes locking onto Serena. Meridian Medical is prepared to invest in Bloom AI, but only under one condition: the IP must be indisputably Martha's. Her words are a blade, clean and precise. No ambiguity, no side deals. If this technology isn't hers, we walk. Serena's face twists, a flash of panic breaking through her mask. That's not how this works, she stammers, her voice rising. The IP belongs to Bloom AI. Martha was just support staff. Support staff? I cut in, my voice sharp, unable to hold back. I built Biotemp from nothing. Every late night, every breakthrough, those were mine. You don't get to rewrite history because it suits you. My hands tremble, but I keep my eyes on Diana, willing her to see the truth. Lexi steps forward, her voice quiet but firm. I've worked in the lab since day one. Martha's designs are the core of Biotemp. Serena's been trying to erase her contributions for months. She taps the laptop, pulling up another file, a timeline of my work, meticulously documented. Diana's gaze shifts to Oliver, who's been silent too long. Oliver, you're the CEO. What's your stance? Her tone is neutral, but there's an edge to it, a challenge. Oliver's throat bobs as he swallows, his eyes flicking to Serena, then to me. The room holds its breath. I can see the war in his face. Love, loyalty, shame. Please, Oliver, I think, my heart aching. See her for what she is. Finally, he stands, his voice low but resolute. Serena, he says, turning to her, you're fired. The words land like a thunderclap. Serena's mouth opens, then closes, her face draining of color. Oliver, you can't, she starts, but he cuts her off, his voice harder now. I can, and I am. You betrayed this company. You betrayed my mother. You betrayed me. His hands shake, but his eyes are clear, focused. For the first time in weeks, I see my son, not the puppet Serena made him. The room is still, the air electric. Serena grabs her bag, her movements jerky, her composure gone. You'll regret this, she hisses, her eyes blazing as she storms toward the door. It slams behind her, the sound echoing like a gunshot. Diana breaks the silence, her voice calm but commanding. Martha, I'll need to see those patent filings. If they're as solid as you say, Meridian will move forward, with you at the helm of the IP. I nod, my throat tight, the weight of the moment settling over me. I've won this battle, but as I look at Oliver, his shoulders slumped, his eyes haunted, a new fear creeps in. The Bloom AI office feels different today, lighter, as if the air itself has been cleansed. Sunlight streams through the floor-to-ceiling windows, painting the polished concrete floors in warm gold. The faint hum of keyboards and murmured conversations fills the space, a rhythm of purpose rather than tension. I stand in the prototype lab, my fingers tracing the smooth edges of the Biotemp AI device. It's still mine, legally, undeniably, but now it's something more, a symbol of what I fought for. It's been a week since the confrontation, since Serena's exit left a void in the company and a crack in Oliver's heart. I can still see his face when he fired her, the mix of resolve and pain in his eyes. He's been quiet since then, retreating into late-night meetings and paperwork, but today he asked me to meet him here. "We need to talk, Mom," he'd said, his voice soft, almost like the boy I used to know. The lab door swings open and Oliver steps in, his tie absent, his sleeves rolled up. He looks tired, the shadows under his eyes deeper than they should be for a man of 30. But there's a clarity in his gaze, a determination I haven't seen in months. "Mom," he says, pausing as if testing the word, "I owe you an apology, a real one." My chest tightens, but I keep my expression steady, leaning against the workbench. "I'm listening," I say, my voice calm but firm. The lab smells of solder and antiseptic, grounding me as I wait for his words. He runs a hand through his hair, exhaling sharply. "I let Serena blind me. I thought she was what Bloom AI needed, her polish, her ambition. I thought I was doing what was best for the company." His voice cracks and he looks away, his jaw tight. "I didn't see what she was doing to you, to us." "I'm sorry, Mom. I should have fought for you." The words hit me like a wave, stirring a warmth I've missed for too long. I want to cross the room, to pull him into a hug like I did when he was small, but I hold back. This moment needs more than sentiment. It needs truth. "Oliver," I say, my voice soft but unwavering, "you broke my trust. You chose her over me, over everything we built together. That hurt more than I can say." He flinches, but he doesn't look away. "I know," he says quietly. "And I'll spend as long as it takes to make that right." He steps closer, his eyes searching mine. "I want you back, Mom. Not just as a consultant or a name on a patent. I want you as Chief Innovation Officer with a real stake in the company, equity, a contract, everything in writing, so no one can push you out again." The offer catches me off guard, a spark of pride mingling with caution. I study his face, looking for the catch, for any trace of the man who let Serena call the shots. But all I see is my son, raw and earnest, trying to rebuild what was broken. "And Lexi?" I ask, remembering the young woman who risked everything to stand by me. "She deserves more than just a pat on the back." Oliver nods, a small smile breaking through. "She's already on board as Vice President of R&D. I met with her yesterday. She's got ideas for the next phase of Biotemp, good ones." His voice carries a hint of the old excitement, the kind we shared in the early days. I turn back to the prototype, my fingers brushing its surface. The lab is quiet, the hum of the office distant, and for a moment I let myself imagine it. Leading innovation, shaping Bloom AI's future, working side by side with Oliver again. But this time, it's different. This time, I'm not just the supportive mother. I'm a partner, a creator with a voice that won't be silenced. "All right," I say finally, meeting his gaze. "I'll come back, but on my terms, no more blind trust, Oliver. We set clear rules, and no one gets to erase me again." His shoulders sag with relief and he nods, his eyes glistening. "Deal," he says, his voice thick. "I promise, Mom, we're a team again." The moment feels fragile, like a new circuit just soldered into place. I want to believe him, to trust that we can rebuild. But as we walk out of the lab, the sunlight warm on my skin, a shadow lingers in my mind. Serena's gone, but her influence, her poison, may not be. Bloom AI is stepping into a new era, but the scars of betrayal run deep. The evening air in my Austin home is thick with the scent of cedar and rain, the windows cracked open to let in the cool breeze. I sit at my dining table, a stack of patent documents spread before me, their crisp pages glowing under the soft light of a pendant lamp. The ink of my signature as Chief Innovation Officer at Bloom AI is barely dry, and the company feels alive again. Lexi's promotion, Oliver's renewed focus, the promise of Meridian Medical's investment. For the first time in weeks, hope feels within reach, but as I sip my tea, the faint buzz of my phone shatters the calm. A text from an unknown number glows on the screen. You think you've won? I can still burn Bloom AI to the ground. FDA violations, data tampering, 24 hours to step down or I go public. My breath catches, the mug trembling in my hands. Serena. Her venom seeps through every word, a final desperate strike. The room feels smaller, the air heavier, as I reread the message, each syllable a needle in my chest. FDA violations, data tampering. My mind races, piecing together fragments of the past. Late-night meetings I wasn't privy to. Serena's insistence on handling regulatory submissions. Did she plant something, a trap to destroy us if she lost? I set the mug down, my hands steadying as I force myself to think. Serena's not bluffing. She's too calculating for that. But she's also cornered, lashing out like a wounded animal. I forward the text to Oliver, Lexi, and Eric, my fingers moving with purpose. We need to meet, now. An hour later, they're gathered in my living room, the tension palpable. Oliver paces, his jaw tight, his eyes haunted. She can't do this, he mutters, more to himself than to us. She's gone. She has no leverage. She thinks she does, Eric says, leaning against the mantel, his voice calm but sharp. He's already pulled up the text on his phone, his lawyer's mind dissecting it. FDA violations are serious. If she has evidence, or even a convincing lie, it could trigger an investigation. Delays, bad press, maybe worse. Lexi sits on the couch, her laptop open, her fingers flying across the keys. I'm checking the regulatory files, she says, her voice steady despite the strain. Serena handled the initial biotemp submissions. If she tampered with the data, it's in there. Her brow furrows and I see the weight of her new role as Vice President of R&D settling on her shoulders. I stand, my hands clasped to keep them from shaking. The living room smells of leather and the faint citrus of Lexi's shampoo, grounding me as I speak. We can't wait for her to make the first move, I say, my voice firm. If there's even a chance she's telling the truth, we need to get ahead of it. Oliver stops pacing, his eyes meeting mine. What are you saying, Mom? We go to the FDA ourselves? His voice is raw, laced with fear, but there's a flicker of the resolve I saw when he fired Serena. Yes, I say, holding his gaze. We audit every submission, every data point. If there's anything that's not clean, we report it ourselves. Transparency is our only defense. Eric nods, a glint of approval in his eyes. Smart. Self-reporting shows good faith. It'll hurt, delays, maybe fines, but it's better than letting Serena control the narrative. Lexi looks up from her laptop, her face pale. I found something, she says, her voice tight. She turns the screen toward us, displaying a spreadsheet from the biotemp trials. The efficacy data, it's been smoothed out, outliers removed, results tweaked to look more consistent. It's subtle, but it's there. My stomach drops, a cold fury rising. Serena's handiwork, no doubt. Can we fix it? I ask, leaning over to scan the numbers. The data is still mine, still solid, but her tampering is a landmine. We can, Lexi says, her jaw set. I'll rebuild the dataset from the raw trial logs. It'll take a few days, but we can submit a corrected version. Oliver runs a hand over his face, his shoulders slumping. This could kill our funding. Meridian won't wait through an FDA mess. Then we convince them, I say, my voice sharper than I intend. We show Diana we're cleaning house, that we're stronger without Serena's lies. I turn to Eric. Can you draft a preemptive letter to the FDA? Explain the situation, flag the tampering, and commit to full cooperation? Already on it, he says, pulling out his phone. We'll frame it as a leadership change uncovering prior mismanagement. It'll sting, but it'll keep you in the driver's seat. The room falls quiet, the weight of our plan settling over us. I look at Oliver, his face a mix of guilt and determination. We'll get through this, I say, softer now, but we do it together. No more secrets. He nods, a faint spark in his eyes. No more secrets, Mom. As Lexi and Eric dive into their tasks, I step onto the porch, the night air cool against my skin. Serena's threat looms like a storm cloud, but I'm not afraid. Not anymore. We're dismantling her final weapon, turning her desperation into our strength. The Bloom AI office hums with a quiet energy, the kind that comes after a storm has passed. Sunlight filters through the glass walls, casting long shadows across the polished floors, and the air carries the faint scent of fresh coffee and new beginnings. I stand in the conference room, my hands resting on the back of a chair, the weight of the past weeks settling into something solid, something I can hold. The patent documents for Biotemp AI, my designs, my legacy, are filed, secure, and indisputably mine. Serena's threat, her final desperate jab, lies neutralized, our preemptive strike with the FDA stripping her of power. But as I look out at the Austin skyline, a question lingers. What do I want this victory to mean? Oliver steps into the room, his posture looser than it's been in months, a tablet tucked under his arm. "Mom," he says, his voice warm, almost like the boy who used to beg me to check his math homework. "Diana's on her way. She's ready to sign." I nod, a flicker of pride warming my chest. Meridian Medical's investment, once teetering on the edge, is now within reach. Lexi's corrected data submissions to the FDA were meticulous, our transparency earning us a chance to rebuild trust. But it's more than that. It's the new structure we've forged. My company, Nova Innovations, holding the Biotemp patents and licensing them to Bloom AI under clear, fair terms. I'm not just a name on a patent anymore. I'm a partner, a creator with control. "Good," I say, my voice steady. "Let's make this official." I glance at Oliver, catching the faint smile on his lips. We've been rebuilding, not just the company, but us, mother and son, learning to trust again. It's fragile, but it's real. The door opens and Diana enters, her presence as commanding as ever. Her dark eyes sweep the room, taking in Oliver, Lexi, and me, a subtle nod acknowledging our work. "Martha," she says, setting her briefcase on the table with a decisive click. "Your team's handled this crisis with remarkable clarity. I'm impressed." "Thank you," I say, meeting her gaze. "We've learned some hard lessons, but we're stronger for it." My fingers brush the edge of the patent folder, a reminder of what I've fought for. Diana opens her briefcase, pulling out a contract. Meridian's prepared to move forward with the investment, contingent on the IP licensing agreement with Nova Innovations. She slides the document toward me, her expression unreadable but not unkind. "I trust everything's in order?" I take the contract, scanning the terms. Generous, fair, exactly as we negotiated. Nova Innovations retains full ownership of the patents, while Bloom AI gains exclusive rights to develop and market Biotemp. I sign, my hand steady, the pen's scratch against the paper a quiet triumph. Oliver signs next, his signature bold beside mine. As Diana countersigns, Lexi leans forward, her voice bright but professional. "We're already planning the next phase of Biotemp. Improved diagnostics, broader applications. Martha's designs are just the start." Her enthusiasm is infectious, and I catch Oliver's grin, a spark of the old dream we shared. Diana closes her briefcase, standing. "I expect great things from Bloom AI," she says, her tone carrying the weight of expectation. "Martha, your leadership will be key." She extends a hand, and I shake it, her grip firm, a silent acknowledgement of my place. After she leaves, Oliver turns to me, his expression softer now. "You did it, Mom. You saved us." "We saved us," I correct, my voice gentle but firm. "You, me, Lexi, Eric, this wasn't just my fight." I pause, the words I've been holding back rising to the surface. "But I need to know, Oliver. Why did you fight for me this time? After everything, what changed?" He looks down, his fingers tracing the edge of the table. "When I heard Serena's voice on that recording planning to steal your work, it wasn't just about the company. It was about you. I saw how I'd let you down, how I'd let her come between us." His voice cracks, and he meets my eyes, raw and unguarded. "I couldn't lose you again." The words settle over me, heavy with truth. I reach out, squeezing his hand, the warmth of his skin a reminder of the bond we're rebuilding. You haven't lost me, I say, my voice thick, but we keep moving forward together. No more shadows. He nods, a weight lifting from his shoulders. No more shadows. As we step out of the conference room, the office buzzes with activity. Engineers at their desks, Lexi briefing her team, the future taking shape. Bloom AI is restructured, Serena's influence purged, my role as Chief Innovation Officer cemented. I'm no longer the invisible mother, the one who stood behind. I'm front and center where I belong. But as I look at the prototype on display, its sleek lines glinting in the sunlight, a quiet question tugs at me. The ocean breeze carries the sharp tang of salt and kelp, wrapping around me as I stand on the balcony of a Carmel beach house, the Pacific stretching endless and blue before me. The sun dips low, painting the waves in hues of gold and amber, and the air feels clean, unburdened. Below, Oliver walks along the shore, his shoes dangling from one hand, his laughter mingling with the crash of the surf. It's been years since I've seen him like this, free, unguarded, my son again. This place, with its weathered wood and memories of summers long past, feels like the perfect ending to a journey I never expected. Inside, the house smells of cedar and lemon polish, its cozy rooms filled with echoes of our old family vacations, Oliver building sandcastles, me sketching designs in the evenings. I lean against the railing, my fingers tracing the rough grain of the wood, and let the past week settle in my mind. Bloom AI is thriving, Meridian's investment secured, my patent safe with Nova Innovations. Serena's shadow is gone, her threats buried under our transparency with the FDA. Lexi's leading R&D with a fire I'm proud to have sparked, and Oliver. Oliver and I are rebuilding, one honest conversation at a time. I step back inside, the hardwood cool under my feet, and find a small package on the kitchen table, wrapped in simple brown paper. A note in Lexi's neat handwriting sits atop it. For you, Martha, great ideas deserve to be recognized. My throat tightens as I open it, revealing a framed sketch, my original Biotemp AI design, the first crude lines I drew in that cramped garage years ago. The ink is faded, but the vision is clear, a testament to what I created, what I fought for. I trace the frame's edge, tears pricking my eyes. Lexi's words echo in my heart, a reminder that this victory isn't just about patents or titles. It's about being seen. Oliver's voice pulls me back. Mom, you coming? He's at the door, his hair tousled by the wind, a boyish grin on his face. I set the frame down, nodding, and follow him to the beach. The sand is soft, cool between my toes, and we walk in comfortable silence, the rhythm of the waves matching our steps. I was thinking, Oliver says, his voice soft but clear, about that summer when I was 10. You taught me how to wire my first circuit board right over there. He points to a rocky outcrop, his smile wistful. I thought you were magic, the way you made things work. I laugh, the sound light, free. Magic? It was just patience and a lot of coffee. But his words warm me, stirring memories of those simpler days. He stops, turning to face me, the sunset casting his face in soft light. I'm sorry it took me so long to see you again, Mom. Not just as my mother, but as you, the woman who built something incredible. His voice catches, and he looks out at the ocean, his hands in his pockets. I almost lost that. My heart aches, but it's a good ache, one of healing. I step closer, resting a hand on his arm. We've found our way back, Oliver. That's what matters. My voice is steady, filled with a certainty I've earned. And we're not losing each other again. He nods, his eyes glistening, and we start walking again, the tide lapping at our feet. The beach stretches ahead, endless and open, like the future we're building. Bloom AI is stronger now, its foundation rooted in truth, not manipulation. I'm no longer the silent force behind the scenes. I'm Chief Innovation Officer, my name on every patent, my vision driving us forward. But as I look at Oliver, his laughter echoing as he kicks at a wave, I know the real victory isn't in the company or the technology. It's here, in this moment, in the love and respect we've reclaimed. I think of Lexi's framed sketch, of her words. Great ideas deserve to be recognized. She's right, but so do great bonds, the ones that weather betrayal and come out stronger. As the last light fades, I take a deep breath, the salt air filling my lungs. I've won more than I ever thought possible, not just my place, but my purpose. And this time, I know one thing for certain.